The Kenyan Supreme Court has ordered an inspection and scrutiny of ballot boxes and a recount of presidential ballots from 15 polling stations, in line with a petition filed by former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who's challenging the declaration of William Ruto as president-elect in the just concluded general elections. The court has also put 9 issues that it will consider in determining the legality of the process, including the electronic identification and results transmission system. Odinga is among 9 petitioners challenging Ruto's election over what they term as massive irregularities. Our correspondent in Nairobi is Sarah Kimani.
The Apex Court also ordered the Electoral Commission to grant the petitioners access to its servers that were used for storing and transmitting results. The Electoral Commission will also be required to give information to the petitioners on who had access to its systems for voter identification, vote tallying, as well as results transmission. The orders by the Supreme Court will aid Odinga in proving that the election was rigged. In his petition, Odinga has alleged that there was interference of IEBC's electronic systems to advantage Ruto.
We are also reminding ourselves that these are judicial proceedings being conducted in court, and therefore discussing the merits of the case by the parties or counsel outside the court is not permitted.
On Tuesday, the Supreme Court began hearing the petition with a pre-trial conference.
In a pre-trial conference, the court determines preliminary issues on how the trial shall be conducted. It deals with the question of time, the question of advocates appearing, and the quorum, and then indicates what time each party shall take and what issues shall be canvassed.
The court set out 9 issues for determination as follows: whether the technology met standards of integrity, verifiability, security and transparency to guarantee accurate and verifiable results, whether there was interference with the uploading and transmission of results forms from the polling stations to the IEBC public portal, whether there was a difference between results forms uploaded in the portal and those received at the National Tallying Center, whether the postponement of some of the elections resulted in voter suppression, whether there were unexplainable discrepancies between the votes cast for presidential candidates and other elective positions, whether the Electoral Commission carried out the verification, tallying and declaration within the law, whether Ruto attained 50% plus 1 vote of all the votes cast, whether there were irregularities and illegalities of such magnitude as to affect the final result of the presidential election, and what reliefs and orders can the court grant or issue. On the first day of the hearing, divisions in the Electoral Commission continued, with commissioners sending 2 sets of lawyers.
We rely on a resolution by 4 of the 7 commissioners. We have stated in our pleadings that we are legitimately representing the commission.
In my opinion, what I understood my lady and the court to have said earlier in your ruling was that IEBC was properly represented by its advocates on this table.
This is a 3rd consecutive petition by opposition leader Raila Odinga. Odinga lost the 2013 petition but won in 2017 after the court ordered for repeat elections. Odinga boycotted the repeat elections, claiming the commission could not be trusted to hold free, fair and credible elections. This time in his petition, Odinga wants the court to find that the commission committed election irregularities and therefore barred from conducting a possible repeat election. Sarah Kimani, SABC News, Kenya.
The managing editor of the Platform for Law, Justice and Society, Advocate Evans Ogada, joins us now on Zoom for a little bit more on this development. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Always good to talk to you. All right, do we have Advocate Ogada?
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you. Advocate, I don't know, for us from the outside looking in, What do we make of this order to go recount 15 polling stations in the presidential vote? What does this all mean? Is this a sample? Are those problem areas identified? What are they trying to ascertain?
It's actually both. It's both a sample that will give the court indication of what the actual state of events is. It's also chosen by certain parties for sampling for the reason that they allege that those areas experienced voter fraud issues. So let's see what will come out of that scrutiny process. Remember, those are very small number of polling stations, an odd less than 20 or so, very few compared to the 46,000 plus stations we had all over the country. So whatever they will find out of those stations might not be enough to impeach the overall conduct of the election.
All right, unless, of course, systemic issues are found, rather than maybe a miscount in particular polling stations.
Yes, it has to be a lot more than the few polling stations. You have to bring in more evidence to support the threshold to overturn the election. Discrepancies in some less than 50 polling stations might not be enough. That's just but a sample for the court to get an appreciation of what happened.
Is this what happened before? Last time we spoke about 2017. Was it a sampling again, or is this something new that we're seeing?
No, there was the sampling in 2017, and yes, indeed the sampling revealed issues, and that is one of the reasons that motivated the court to make the decision it made in 2017.
The opposition, inverted commas, seem pretty confident in terms of what they've observed. Most people were saying that this was a transparent election. Where could the weaknesses have been that we're not seeing?
Well, according to the petitions that have been filed in court, we have around 7 petitions that are currently in court. We have those that are asking pre-election process questions. There's a respected civil society player by the name Halef Khalifa. His petition centers around anomalies that were found in the election system as a result of an audit by the audit firm KPMG. So those are the pre-election process systems. Then we have, of course, petition like Mr. Odinga's, Okio Mtata and the rest, who ask questions relating to the election proper. So the court essentially will be asked to look at the process, the processual history of the election, from the procurement questions to the pre-election phase leading to the final declaration. It's going to be an interesting call.
Is it any clearer what the 4 of the 7 commissioners had objection to?
I didn't get you on that, Peter.
I was just saying, is it any clearer now, especially now we're into the court process, what the 4 commissioners of the 7 in total had objection to, that they went against their own chairperson?
Well, the commissioners raise a lot of fundamental questions. These are very, very difficult and hard questions being raised against the chair. We have allegations of illegal and unconstitutional declaration of results. We have questions of negligence and incompetence. There are allegations of unilateral action on the part of the chairperson. The vice chair herself, Commissioner Cherera, is on record as saying that the chairperson operated in an opaque manner, that he took over the election process and handled it as if it were his own business. So let's see what will be adduced in court. The allegations are damning. They are very serious election malpractices, some which border on criminal action.
This is quite a lot to take in, and I suppose because of the nature of the complaints, nothing really has been decided, albeit we have William Ruto ready to move into State House.
Yes, Vice President, the Deputy President, William Ruto, is now President-elect. That is the status that the Constitution and the law confers on him, pursuant to the declaration made by the IEBC chair, the Independent Election Commission chair. Nonetheless, that status may remain if the court finds that he was validly declared according to the law and the Constitution. But should the court make its decision otherwise, then that status is automatically stripped, and by virtue of Article 140 of the Constitution of Kenya, we will go for a repeat poll.
The Kenyan courts has laid out, I believe, 9 issues that they want to investigate. What is the nature of those 9 items?
Well, certainly very heavy legal questions. We have questions relating to tallying and verification. We have questions of conduct on the part of the Election Commission. For example, on the question of who makes decisions on verification and tallying. How should the Commission make decisions? Certainly, these are going to be consequential questions for the institutional framework of Kenya, because Peter, part of the allegations that were made by the election body chairperson was the interference by state operatives, security operatives in his work and in the work of the commission. So whatever decision the court makes will have ramifications even on the interaction of security personnel and the Independent Election Commission moving forward. Very, very heavy questions.
I mean, if we're seeing what's happening in Angola, I suppose we shouldn't be surprised in Kenya, but since 2002, no election has been uncontested. They've been resolved.
Yes, we shouldn't be surprised.
Carry on.
Sorry, Peter.
Yeah, I was just saying, I suppose...
Please go ahead.
Yeah, we shouldn't be surprised, I guess. But I suppose what is different now is a split commission. That is unprecedented, right?
Yes. It's something that many Kenyans are absolutely gobsmacked about. People are asking themselves, how did we get here? And the split is not enough. The level of allegations being made by either side are very, very damning. They go to the heart of the Kenyan constitutional construct. They go to the heart of our institutions. They ask questions on treason. These are very, very difficult questions, Peter.
Will this commission split be a point of evidence in the court adjudication of the electoral complaints?
I can't tell, but the court cannot ignore. we have one set of majority commissioners filing affidavit and saying very serious things against the election process. One commissioner has even filed affidavits claiming that the IEBC, the Electoral Commission servers, were hacked, and is named individuals. On the other side, we have the chairperson who is saying that the security personnel interfered with the functions and capacity of the Independent Election Commission. And this has sucked in our National Security Committee that has very highly placed civil servants, including fellows from the military, sitting in it. So this is quite unprecedented. It's a very messy affair. I don't know how the court is going to resolve this, but whatever they're going to do, I don't envy their position right now.
Advocate Ogada, that's where we'll leave it. And yeah, this is certainly something that's going to be watched by people far and wide for sure. But thanks so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Peter.
All right, that's Advocate Ogada, one of our regular commentators, speaking to us from Kenya about this process that the Supreme Court has started, ordering the recount of 15 polling stations to see the presidential vote, to see how that went. It is a sample, a very small sample, but perhaps could be an indicator of systemic issues which might assist the courts in deciding whether there is a case that's been presented by the complainants.